Hey guys, Darren Mullan from Producernerd here. I'm going to show you today how to get a totally killer drum sound out of a very simple recording. Now in this instance I'm recording a band all in the same room in a 4 meter by 4 meter space. I'm using simple mic setup. This is all Shure microphones. On the drum kit is a Beta 52 on the kick. That's a standard run-of-the-mill from your Shure drum pack. There are Beta 56As, which is a Beta 57 with a 90-degree, swivel clamp on it. Very handy as drums and also as a vocal mic as well. Keeps it out of the way of the drummer's arms. There is mainly those ones, SM57s, also on toms and stuff. And overheads are the KSM 137 condensers Shure microphones. They're on a Shure adjustable clip that I use here, a fantastic tool. You've got to get yourself one of these. It's a very cool little clip, an A27M. Right, swivel, and you can get them in your perfect XY. So I just put these guys straight over the kit, had them as low as I can without the drummer hitting them, generally about 1 foot above the cymbals, because we're all in the same room. These are the only condenser mics in the room. All the rest are dynamic mics, which will sort of, block out a little bit of the rest of the room. So let's jump straight in and have a listen to what we've got raw in the room at the moment. There's a fair bit going on. Everything's panned to the center at the moment. Now the drummer is playing in the background there. His vocal mic is not being used. I may be able to use that in as an extra drum mic. You never know. Percussion over there. They're stereo mic with 2 SM57s. We will eventually get to the full mix of this song and I'll add the rest, but in this video I just want to show you how to get a killer drum sound. And at least this is my secret way of doing it. So I've done almost 100 of these videos, live videos in this, with a band similar to this in this room. So I've got to know how to do a really good drum sound with just 6 microphones. So it's a simple drum kit setup: kick, snare, rack, floor, and a stereo pair XY overheads. You could do a different configuration with your overheads, doing a cross configuration over the ride, but I just find that this keeps the sound a bit tighter and doesn't let too much of the rest of the guys in the room. So let's just listen to the drums. Now I have panned, as you can notice, I have panned the overhead so that they do match the toms positions. So the rack tom is a little to the right, as you can see in the video, and of course the floor will be over here a little bit on the left. I'll do the same thing with the congas, so that Steve's congas will be panned left and right accordingly as well. So they'll be part of my drum sound. So first things first, I trigger the kick. Now I know that I'm probably going to get some flack for doing this. This is the way I do it. It especially makes the job easier and faster. And I'm a Slate plugin guy through and through. Love Slate plugins. These guys are really at the top of their field. I'm not endorsed by these guys, but I can't speak higher enough. Audio units, Steve and Slate, Trigger 2. This is my secret weapon for the kick. I have my normal kick number 6 in the browser under kicks, because you can put snares and toms as well. Under kicks, kick 6. This one here is my fave. I've gone through all of them. This one seems to be tight, thick, lush, short, but not too short. It has just the right sort of punch for me. So have a quick look at the trigger plugin. This isn't a trigger plugin lesson, but this is how I've got it set. Sensitivity, the detail, of course, is how, you know, how close to the WAV you want it to be. Now remember, comparing the old one to, you know, this is one microphone on the kick and the perfect kick sound pretty well given to you in a plugin. So, very cheap plugin too. I think I paid 149 bucks Australian dollars for that plugin. I've seen it for 99 sometimes in their specials. Stephen Slate Trigger 2. Go get it. There's a Trigger 2 Platinum too. Now the snare, this is a straight out 57 sounding snare. I would generally put an EQ on it. I like the 200. So I do like this sort of on this particular mic. So I don't generally change that, but this frequency around here, this guy here, I'll move him back. There's also one over here actually. Okay, I do add a little bit of top because there's little ghosty hits on there as well. Now the overheads will pick those up, but I just like to grab a little bit of top end for that. Let's just roll it up. That's my snare, pretty well straight up. I will maybe give it a limit. I can see it's already 1.8 over the thing, so I'll just grab a limiter and pop that on there as well, just to stop it from going over. Okay. Rack time, play the rack time over here. So I can hear ooh, very easy to fix. Open an EQ. Ooh. So did you see what I just did then? So I've just swept the EQ around, just added it up, put the Q down so it's a spike, right? And just moved it till it's the right one, and then kill it. You can widen it out. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll just go back to a moment when it hits. Remember, the overheads are, you know, playing such a huge role in the drum sound, giving the detail of those toms as well. So I'm not going to use top end on this mic. Just want it to be the direct mic. Put a bit of reverb on it and maybe warm it up later. But I think that's good. The floor microphone. Now this guy's ringing a lot. If I just play a moment where it's playing. I'm probably more concerned about the higher stuff than the low. So I think just going to find this other guy. I can definitely hear a higher. So around this guy, around there. Oh, that's a huge difference. Now I'm not going to gate these guys. I know a lot of guys chop out their drum sounds and just chop out the toms. Unless there's, you know, a lot in there, you're playing some really heavy rock and the guitars all through the mics, I'll chop them then, but I like that balance of the two energies, the panned left and right, just that particular sound of those guys. I know there's a little bit of boom, 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 but I don't mind that. I think that's, it's not, they're not really freaking out the bottom end energy, so kick, snare and the two racks together. You can hear a little bit of cymbal action in there, but that's just those four microphones. overheads. Now these guys, I first would recommend that you group them, just so that when you turn up the faders, they both move at the same time and things like that. So I'll set them on volume, you know, editing, things like that. I'll just name them. So overs. And, you know, things like congas, pairs, that stereo pair would be good. So percush. That's another pair that you would just, right? I'll put these guys left and right. Let's just figure out quickly where they're going. That sounds like... Yep, so I think I've got those right in the right position. Okay, beautiful. So overheads. Here is Slate Digital's cranking plugin, the VMR Virtual Mix Rack. This is the killer. You'll want to use this all the time. Okay, so firstly, I'm just going to put them through their own little bus and just call it overs. And I'm going to insert Slate Digital Virtual Mix Rack. Now I've got the all-you-can-eat monthly subscription, so I get all of their plugins every time they add a new one. I get it. It's a very, very cool system. Now, so out of all these plugins, I just have my basic one up here. I have a trimmer on each end. In this particular, you know, so I've got input gain and output gain like a channel strip. So this is a stereo thing. I'll just press play. I like my British Neve style preamp sound. Now I like to hit that hard so the preamp gets the sound right. The Neve style EQ, I like the top end in it without being too... If you want some real sizzle, you can use the custom series. That one gives you, you know, like 12, 15K. Now this particular, the FG401, that's a compressor. I like that on drums, but in this particular situation, I want the drums to really whack. So I'm going in and I'm going to choose the Monster. Now the Monster is a very, very cool compressor. Doesn't muck around. Let's have a listen to Dry without it. And now I'm going to dial it right in. How's that? Without it? Oh, that's just such incredible whack. We're only listening to the two microphones above the kit, right? So we haven't even brought the kick or the snare or anything into. This is just the magic of these plugins. Absolutely analog sounding beautiful. So that one there, I've hardly EQ'd this. I haven't really done anything. So the trimmer at the end shows me my output gain. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's just have a listen to, you know, kick, snare racks, everything in. Take off the VMR on the overheads just to let you hear it raw. That's your raw, right? Now that's, you know, I haven't really added any reverbs or anything, but already they're really slamming. I'm a very kick heavy sort of mixer. I like to have a lot of kick drum in my mixes. So I would generally pull everything back. Notice I have a limiter on my master. Just checking to make sure that I'm not over I mean, Logic Pro X does give you a lot of forgiving space on a master. You can run it into the red for a fair way before it's going to distort. That's one good thing about Logic that you will not find on some other DAWs. So. one other little thing I like to do on the kick drum, and here's a secret really for you guys, is a sub bass. This is a plugin that comes with it's like a R bass in waves. It's sort of a sub-harmonic plugin. Just adds a bit of sub energy. I'll put this on a kick drum into my little, on the low part down here, I'll put 63 hertz. Definitely 63. It is the body blow, the secret weapon of rock kick drum, 63 hertz. That's the one. The top, as far as the tap goes, click. If I'm going to use it at all, you know, maybe about 2-3K. So I've got my wet and dry mix here, and I can mix between the top end and the bottom. So I'll just put it down the bottom and add some 63 hertz. So here's our kick drum. That's all I'm adding. Not sure whether you can hear 63 hertz, but that's a lot of bandwidth, just a little bit. So our kick. I'll put a limiter there as well to make sure that it's not freaking out too much. Okay, so I've added, and in my studio speakers here, I can definitely feel the difference there between those two things. Even maybe just creep that up. I think I'm in mixed mode, so I'll use the linear phase EQ. This will give you some latency if you're recording through it, so I just use channel EQs when I'm recording. There is a carve out a little bit of a chasm in between. You can see where that's working. I think that's got our kick drum pretty well. No overheads, I'll just creep them in. Now I could actually make the snare drum a little bit bigger as well. Let's do that anyway. I'll just duplicate the track. So it's just made another one. I'll just use a duplicate key command. You can go track, other, create, track with duplicate setting. That's what I've done. So, and I'm going to drag the snare onto it. So I've got two exact snares running exactly the same. Now already that's pretty big. I'm going to put a trigger on one. Same one, Slate trigger, so Stephen's Slate trigger. Make it a stereo one this time. And I'm going to grab a snare. Now I do have already have some snares that I like to use. Let's go into the browser, have a bit of a listen. I like to grab some, you know, some dream snares. Get a bit of snap. I won't need, so let's go to Slate snare. A little bit deeper, snap, and a deeper one. I think that'll probably do. So between those two guys, let's have a listen to the pitch of our snare without the probably through the overheads. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to tune the actual pitch of the snare with my sample. I've got to get that right. So otherwise you're just putting another sound, another note on it. It doesn't sound the same. Just want a little bit of that snare, and then okay. So without, I'll just run my mixer here. So we're playing all of our drums. That's an extra. That's without our extra snare. And with. Just give us a little bit of extra whack. Especially great opportunity to add a little bit of reverb just on this particular snare. So I'll just go inside my, this is my chroma verb, which just comes with Logic. Inside Chambers, drum chamber, great little preset. There's your EQ, of course, to your. I don't want that oh in the middle. I like the sound of that. So that's just added to our. Just added a nice bit of reverb pop to our drum sound. So I think that overall, once I get into mix mode as well, the drums will improve even more. But I think that that's shown you how I get to my main drum mix. Soon we'll add the bass and guitars and the rest of the instruments. That is my slam and drum sound. So I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you have learned something. Our next video will show the rest of the mix as it goes along. I hope that you follow me through with this one, and follow my page, Producernerd. See you later.